Hi folks, biomimicking. What does biomimicking mean? That's when we use look to nature for finding solutions for our sort of everyday challenges. Need this. But before we get into that, really, what better place to talk about copying, mimicking nature than this in the forest? So let me welcome you to my humble off-grid homestead in Canada. It's a gloriously mild day today, even though it's January 7th or so. I believe right now we're sitting at about -3 Celsius, and we're not used to this. Let's be honest, we're not used to this because it should have been more like -25 right now. And I'm looking around. I don't even have my glasses on now because my eyes are pretty sensitive to both sun and wind, and there's no wind. It's super calm. I don't know if you can see in your view screen how hardly anything's moving. It's super calm. I'll just not say anything for a second so you can both listen and watch. So tranquil. I feel guilty just standing here talking when I should be just here listening. And this is really the first time ever since I got started this channel that I'm out here in the forest talking when I'm usually here just listening and observing. So anyway, biomimicking, yeah, I first heard about it 25, 30 years ago. And it's fascinating to see how nature has come up with solutions on its own. What I mean is, as our race, the human race, we have all this money to throw at challenges and problems and difficulties that we have. You know, I'm talking about big companies or whatever, and we need it done. We need it fixed pretty quick. Whereas nature hasn't spent, obviously money, but I mean, they have no shortage of, nature's had no shortage of time. So nature's had hundreds of millions of years to perfect, everything. How to, a leaf falls off, a branch breaks off, a salamander loses an arm or a leg, and it grows it back. I mean, how everything's evolved over hundreds of millions of years to be as perfect as they are now, whereas we were so dependent on engineering to fix our solution problems, to solve the challenges and problems that we have. And I've never really had the ability to reach out to like-minded folks who are either engineers or scientists, visionaries, designers, to see if we can collaborate on such mimicking of the natural world for whatever solutions. I like efficiency and productivity and ease of use, and I'm not one of those folks that needs wants to live a hard life. I want to make it easy as much as I can for everyone, make it efficient. So if you when that's done, now on to the next thing. And so some of the aspects of nature that's fascinated me. I mean, everything fascinates me, but I mean, or let's look at the snowflakes. For instance, I mean, if you're lucky enough to have snow where you live, I know that right now California is having Los Angeles is having a huge forest fire, so obviously they don't get snow. But when you look at next time you're out, and if you're, like I said, if you're lucky enough to be in a place where you can have snow, snow comes down, just put your hand out and let a single flake, just focus on a single flake. I know you'll get more than one flake, and you look at it and it's absolutely brilliant. I'm pretty sure some of you have seen. If you've never seen snow or snowflake, you can look it up now that there's this thing called internet, and this insanely geometric brilliant shape. And so when I think about, well, how is it formed as it has? It's gone every direction. It's a circular, it's got edges, it's got triangles, it's got circles, it's got everything. How can we use that? What can we use that for? What can we learn from it? In building structures, because it can hold a lot of weight. It's very spatially, it's very thin, super thin, and the holes that's in it, does that help it not melt or help it free fall? And then when it's falling down, does it fall because it's in a shape of a wheel, so like a round, somewhat round? I mean, it's got edges and pointy, jagged parts to it, but when it's coming down, is it coming down like in a flat, on its flat side? Does it come down on its broad circular side, or on its side, on a super thin side? And how does and they say no two snowflakes are the same. Doesn't that just blow your mind? I mean, look over here. If you're able to see, there's so much snow, and how I can't really see right now, and either with my glasses or not with my glasses, because they're so packed on top of each other. And this actually is a fairly decent layer of insulation, because where we live, the snow is about 90% or more air. You see it when it's falling down, it's so flaky. Anyway, not just snowflakes. I mean, absolutely anything. Talking about the sky, you look at when it rains. I'm sure now, if you don't have snow, you've seen rain. When rain comes down, it fascinates me how they come in different size drops. I'm not necessarily talking about drizzle, which is also droplets. I'm not talking about droplets. I'm talking about raindrops. And they come in different sizes. If you have like a rain shower, whatever, but they come in different sizes. And how is it formed? For instance, let's see if I can explain this the way it's happening in my head. Imagine, look at, oh, here you go. Imagine this entire surface as the space. And then just take a wide band, draw a wide band across it. And these sticks represent rain coming down, right? And just draw a band and then just focus on that band right across it. And how is it that, they don't mash up to each other? I know that the above the band and below the band, and maybe by that time they've come together somehow before they hit the ground. But when raindrops hit me, my head, my body, I feel almost every single one, and I don't understand how it's not coming in the form of a splash. How can I take a basin, like a rectangular basin, leave it out in the rain, and when the rain stops, now your basin's full of water. It's not in the shape of a single. It's not in the shape of many individual single raindrops. It's a sheet, combined. However thick deep the basin is and the size of it, it's taking the shape of that empty space of basin. You throw that up in the air to, for lack of a better definition, a better word, break up this 1 by 1.5 by 6 inch space cube kind of thing. You throw it up in the air, and it still doesn't break up into single individual raindrops. It's still, it goes, it becomes like a long sheet of water, and then it drops. So how is it that when it's coming down from all that distance, from however high up the clouds are, when they're forming, when they come down, they don't during this time that they're traveling, they don't mash up, they don't join together and become like big drops, like a drop the size of my arm, for instance, or even the size of my mitten here. Why are they so small? I mean, they have all that time to join together. They're not repelling each other. And there's so much of it, especially sometimes when you have like rain showers, there's so much of it. You wouldn't, there's very little time, very little distance between them, and yet they're separated. How we can produce electricity, power from the leaves through photosynthesis when that happens. I need to figure out how that can be done. How, for instance, there's a tree you can't see from here, but maybe I'll turn it around. There's two of them right here, but it's probably not in your viewfinder. It's called a aspen poplar, or tulip poplar, trembling poplar. But what it is that as far as I know, it's the only tree that whose bark has chlorophyll in it. So its bark is almost like a leaf, an entire bark of it. And we have a lot of it here. There's 2 right behind the tree, 3 right behind the tree, and some are so minty green that you look at them. You think to yourself, why are they so green? The bark that's green. I'm looking to see if I can find a young one that's like that, so to show you after I videotape this. And it's so unique to this one tree, and I can see higher up they have it, but when they're smaller, I want to show you one so I don't have a zoom, so I can zoom it up. Maybe I will be able to. I'm not sure. I'll try. So what's the purpose of it? How can we use that for our applications, different applications? There's just so much that we can use that's all around us. My point. This is my point. That the nature has perfected over hundreds of millions of years. That I think it's untapped. I would say to us, there's so much opportunity for us to learn from it and copy it. And I'm not trying to take the shortest part of the evolution, but I mean, something's already done it. Why can't we just learn from it and use it to our advantage? And I mean, when I think about how long trees have been around, one of my favorite plants, or whatever, ferns. I love to look at them, and in the spring when they're just into a ball, just into a curl that they're unwrapping, so like fiddleheads, and I look at them, just so mesmerized by them, and they've been around for so long, for so long, or here's an actual animal that's been around, predate the dinosaurs by I don't know how many millions of years. I'm sure some of you know it. Yeah, think about it. It lives in the water. Horseshoe crab. It boggles my mind that they've been around way before the dinosaurs, and they're still there. I love if I ever go to like a um, what are those if it's a zoo, it's got almost every zoo has a little section, little pool, little area where these horseshoe crabs are kept. I heard a while back that there's a company or someone that's not, I don't want to say draining, harvesting half of their bodily fluids, like sort of like a blood, and it's kind of a bluish color. Can't remember what they used it for. And then they don't drain them of all of it, and then obviously they die. So they do, I don't know what percentage, and then they release them somewhere else. And you can only do this once a year when they come to shore, sort of to spawn. Anyway, if any of you, I'm hoping that I can reach out to those of you who have heard of biomimicking and are interested in or want to collaborate with me on how to come up with things. Eventually, I would love to either here, or if I have the opportunity to go somewhere else with a bigger span of land, and dedicate a whole section of it to even here, if I'm to be here forever for the next for the rest of my time here, dedicate a time for the scientists and engineers to come together. It's not a maker space, but it would be like a place that you would come and exchange ideas, but physically. I mean, I know that now you can do this online, and I've seen some people with everyone in front of their screens and talking about different things like vlogs or podcasts or something. But it's not the same. I know. I've said this before, and I know it's easy for me to say, but when you're in the thick of it, when you're in this forest, you can't help but be inspired. I mean, you may have your own one particular little focus of what you're interested in, and that's fine. But when you're here, your mind is almost opened up to all the possibilities that can come, and also be inspired by how it's happening. It's in its working habitat. It's almost like when you go to see a car manufacturer, a car factory, or whatever, and you see how different pieces come together, and on these assembly lines, and then they get welded or bolted or whatever, and then it just keep going before they complete it. This is almost the same thing as that, and it's very inspiring. I would love to go see something like that one day, to anything getting made, but here I'm getting that in its raw, natural form, and if you just dissecting anything here, looking at the cores, or just a fungi, just a fungi, that little lowly, humble fungi that we don't think about. That's where I'm standing, underground, not so far down, but it's there, and it's an amazing scaffolding of mycelium. They're doing their thing, and they're exchanging ideas and nutrients. And what do you got? I need some phosphorus. You got nitrogen from me. I'm just bartering almost down there. And we should. This is all here for us to learn from. I'm here to protect us all from loggers and whatever, but also, if I can learn, I know that I'm so ignorant that there's so much for me to learn, and anyone if I can learn anything from anyone, and the way I learn is by watching people or observing people, and because I'm not interested in any one particular thing. I'm interested in everything, and so by definition, I can't dedicate enough brain space in my little head to everything into a microscopic level. But because I love everything, I can contribute to many things. In this case, I can contribute by providing the land, this little bit of a forest that I have, for folks to come and exchange ideas, or experiment, or tinker, or whatever that I don't even know how to put the words. Anyway, let me know either through here or leave a comment, and then or we'll get together somehow if you can make it here, and that would be even better. Okay, let me just show you that aspen trees that I was telling you about somehow, if I can, and how they're. Well, before I move the camera, it gets all shaky. Let me see if I can find one, so then that way I don't have to make it too shaky for you. I mean, I see the bigger trees. I'm surrounded by it, but I just want to show. I'm looking for a smaller one, where. Okay, well, let's go for a walk. I want to see if I can find a smaller one that. Is completely like that minty green bark that I'm telling you about, and then I'll show you the bigger ones too, so you can see that when they get bigger. Can we go through here? Okay, this is a bigger one. So see this here, this tree here, looks like a regular tree to you, right? As I go up higher and higher, oh, maybe I can try to zoom. Where see, notice how the color changed? It went from, dirty. My finger. Can you see my finger? See, here's a bit of a kind of a darker brown, and from here on, it changes color. That is what I'm talking about. But that's a bigger tree. I'm looking, the smaller ones are like that down below where I'm standing. Boy, how strange that there's so many of them. I see them all the time in the summertime. And now, oh, here we go. Here's one. Here's one. And here's, I think it possibly a slightly better example. You see it? I mean, those of you who have tulip poplar where you live, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I've even seen it mintier green than this. Maybe it's because it's winter now. And I probably know maybe about it. Why would it have its chlorophyll exposed to the outside when it's possible for it to get damaged by the cold? Although we haven't had hardly any cold this year. Here's an example that's a little bit bigger. But that is more minty green in warmer months. So starting springtime. See here, it looks more like a grayish green. I wonder if I try to wipe it. Does that go greener? A little bit. Well, I chose a wrong time of year to show you this, but some are so incredibly green, you can't mistake them for anything else. But right now, like I said, it's possibly because of the cold that it's not as visible. All right, well, you get the point. Yeah, they're hard to tell right now. I mean, I see them, but there's no point in me taking you closer to it because everything looks different right now in the winter. Anyway, good chatting with you. Oh, and share this video if you know someone else. You may not be interested in this, but you may know someone else that might be interested in what I was saying to you. It's called biomimicking. All right. Well, until we talk about something else next time, I'm looking for this button to turn this off. What's the battery like? Okay. Namaste, folks.